Welcome in to the Insulin Resistance Show. Is that what it's called? Is that what we're calling this? Every Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. This is what we do right here. We've done this literally for over a year, you guys. This little community for over a year. So if you have not heard about our community, you really do need to just pause for a half a second. That this is where it's at. I'm just telling you, this is where it's at. In fact, we all collectively meet once a month and do a 5-day challenge. And this is the week. It's right now. Don't miss it, you guys. Every day, starting today at 3 p.m. Central Standard Time in the group, Ditch Insulin Resistance for Women. I put stuff up there for you guys on TikTok. Did I put it? Yeah, I did. Yep, Ditch Insulin Resistance for Women. Basically, I go live in there 5 days this week. Every day you get a nugget. Every day you get a piece to your puzzle that you get to put together so that you can view weight loss through the lens of insulin resistance and actually learn how to fish and have results for your future. Like, I'm invested into the person that you are 5 years from now. That's who I'm working for. I'm not working for you today, although I'm super excited that you guys are like losing all these inches and weight and your sugars are coming down and you're getting off of meds and all of the things. Like, I'm so excited about that. But you 5 years from now is really, really, really who I am fighting for today. So don't miss out. Okay, don't miss out. Good morning, Jen. You're going to be there. Yay. Good morning, Terry. Good to see you. Everybody's jumping in. I would love to help you, Cookie Kurtz, hang out and find out how I teach this, find out like the blueprint of transformation that I talk about. And this all started with my own self because I was raised Italian by a type 2 insulin dependent dad who died at the age of 63. Freaking 63 years old. I just turned 60. So 63 is so young. You know how that goes. It's like, wow, he was really young. He was almost just a teenager, right? That's kind of how that feels, because to be really honest, I was saying this to my husband last night. I'm like, 60 is the new 40. I go, and I'm not even kidding. Like, I still feel so young inside. I still feel, because my body feels so good. If your body feels good, you can actually like have hope for the future. Like, we're still, man, we've got dreams. We've just only begun. I heard a pastor recently say that your years of convergence are from 60 to 83. Listen up, 60 to 83, because you take all of your life experiences and you take all of the skill set that you've developed and you put them together so that you can be used by God, like starting at 60. Isn't that good news? Okay. Anyway, I get excited about stuff like that. But what I have found out is that I was able to actually turn back my insulin resistance. I should not have been the only person in my immediate Italian family to have not been type 2. Do you want to know why? Because I was gestational diabetic with my first baby. I was hypoglycemic with my second baby. And then when I was 50 and I had a shoulder surgery and it froze, I recently, like, it took me 10 years to find out that that was actually a sign of insulin resistance. What in the world? What? Why are we not told this? So I had stuff going on for years and decades, because your insulin can be high for years and decades before your glucose goes up in your blood and your doctor finally tells you something. So if you're looking to exit the matrix, avoid the matrix, get off of meds, avoid meds, I am not a doctor, but I will show you how exactly other people are getting those results. There was a lady, good morning, Magda and Phyllis. Good to see you from Arkansas. I love that you say that, Phyllis, because I don't know. I just would like to go to Arkansas sometime. Yeah, for just a couple of different reasons. So anyway, but my point being that you can actually, okay, so one of the girls, she started to watch my content about a year ago, and she started listening to me talking about like food ingredient trade outs, in the group and stuff, and even here, and she started to implement some of her food trade outs. And she said, She then started the supplementation. Oh, goodness. I think I have to turn that off. Hold on. Okay, my back Instagram. Sorry about that. I had to turn off an alarm. I'm going to have to figure that out. Anyway, so then she started on the targeted supplementation that I talk about. It's exactly where I started 10 years ago. It's exactly where I started. I just took it again right now. Just like right now. I just took this in my stories. I just took the trio that I talk about. 3 supplements that have 3 ingredients that help with insulin sensitivity. So she starts doing some of my protocol that I talk about. In 1 year, you guys, she's lost 50 pounds. And she's off of 10 meds. Are you kidding me? You can take your life back. And the biggest piece of what she told me is that for 30 years, she got bad information from her medical provider. Had she known what I teach, she could have done it so much earlier. So do not count yourself out. Do not think you're late to the party. Do not think you're late to the game. I understand that sometimes conditions are so far, like my dad, that he did just go to be with Jesus. But sometimes, most of the time, we're just not told that it can be reversed, because if they reverse it for us, if meds healed and reverse things, we wouldn't be a customer anymore, would we? No, we would not be a customer. So this is kind of basically what we do. And today what I wanted to do is I want to talk about insulin resistance in children. So please share this with a daughter or a daughter-in-law if they have your grandbabies, or if you're hopping, like you pass through my information and you are perimenopausal, I would love to talk to you because this is where I started my journey, and I am 150,000% convinced that women are sliding into their 40s. They are insulin resistant. They do not know it because they're not being tested for it. And they cannot lose a pound because they do not know that high insulin is blocking any fat burning in their body, and that they're not able to lose any weight, and they're very frustrated. Okay. So if you're in perimenopause and you see my conversations, like pop in, because also too, we're going to talk about your children now today. Okay. This is a really big deal. Good morning, Carol. You're in Florida, so you've missed several days. Carol, how fantastic. What part of Florida? We were in Florida last week. We went to Clearwater Beach and St. Petersburg Beach, and then we went to Anna Maria Island just for an afternoon. It was lovely. It was so amazing. So, all right, welcome in, you guys on TikTok. It's so good to have you here. Please feel free to come in from the balcony and share out this information if you find that this is very helpful. This is definitely something that's near and dear to my heart. As we jump in here, I do want to just make one mention. Marco Island, hello, darling. I had a friend who she had an Airbnb on Marco, and she finally sold it. But golly, I would have loved that. It's gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. Today is the 2-year anniversary of my mom's death. She was 94. And the reason why I bring that up is because she died with dementia. So this is another driving factor as to why I get on here and I talk to you guys about insulin resistance every freaking day. In one way, shape, or form, I am online every single day, either talking to you guys in my inbox, serving customers that are insulin resistant, and you're walking your journey, and I get to walk with you because that's connect with me, you get me, right? This is how that works. And or I'm online live because dementia is type 3 diabetes, insulin resistance of the brain. And this is not what we have been taught in our country, in the United States. And it certainly has not been taught very, if at all, very loudly. And so it's something we need to change. Okay. So that is just yet another reason. It was awesome. I'm so glad, Carol. I bet you feel refreshed. I bet you feel so good. I love it. I love it, love it, love it. So if you are a mom or a grandma, okay, and you think of someone that could use this information, share it out, like it, do all the things, subscribe, do all the things, because maybe they are just struggling with what to do with their kids. When I look back today, when I go into the group Ditch Insulin Resistance for Women, and at 3 p.m. Central Standard Time, we do our 5-day challenge. I'm going to bring you back to when I was a little girl. Like the signs were there. Okay. The signs were there, but we didn't talk about it. We didn't know about it. We just knew we were Italian. So do you think I was maybe a chubby girl? Yep. Do you think I maybe ate a lot of sugar? Yep. Do you think maybe I was taught how to eat, cereal and ice cream and all of those things? Yeah, of course, right? Standard American diet. Why not? So anyway, all right. So signs of insulin resistance in children. So obviously, but this is something that we're not going to probably test for when they're that young, elevated sugars or triglycerides. And that's the same for adults too. Triglycerides are actually a bigger issue to be looking for, as opposed to all of the cholesterol numbers that they give us that are really just meant to put us onto medications. But early puberty, did you know that early puberty is a sign of insulin resistance in children? Like sometimes how young are girls getting their periods now, right? It can be very young. And it used to be, I mean, I think I was at the beginning of people getting younger and younger. And, if you have a child that is maybe adolescent right now, or it could be your grandchild, but if you have a child that is adolescent, then maybe what you are seeing is, sometimes I hear moms mention that they feel like their girls are being very hormonal in their actions or their moods. I should say their moods, like at 8. They're seeing things younger, and they don't necessarily think to attribute it to, early onset, puberty, but that's actually what's starting to happen. Okay. So early puberty insulin resistance can contribute to those hormonal imbalances because insulin is a hormone. Okay. Difficulty focusing. So if you have a child that has a lot of brain fog and trouble concentrating, and of course that can be boy or girl, all of these can be, but do you understand what I'm saying? Like, it depends on, number one, what we're feeding them in the morning. I mean, I homeschooled for 20 years. So I don't know, like you can tell when your child has maybe eaten something that has messed up their ability to focus and whatever. But if it's a constant thing, it could very well be insulin resistance. Okay. In irritability and mood swings, blood sugar fluctuations can really affect mood. So for instance, I'm going to sneeze. So hold on. I have to stop my sneeze. Okay. I'm good. I'm like, oh, it's coming. I don't want to sneeze. So if you feed them breakfast, let's say you feed them, let's even pretend it's not sugared cereal. Let's be super healthy and say that we're feeding them Cheerios and, low fat milk. Cause God forbid we drink fat, low fat milk Cheerios. And so what's going to happen is their sugars are going to spike and they're going to crash. And those blood sugar fluctuations are very or if they are, pancakes and syrup and whatever, as opposed to like an omelet, like eggs and, meat and whatever, which would stabilize blood sugar. So you would be able to see in children when they go to school, by the time they get to school, potentially, or homeschool, in my house anyway, you can tell that their concentration isn't there and their mood is kind of wonky. And those can be signs of insulin resistance, right? All right, hold on. Next one, craving for sugars and carbs. So if you have a child or grandchild, for some of us, right, that they're just craving sugar and carbs all the time and they're constantly asking. I mean, for me, that was a huge sign at a young age. I mean, very, very young memory of wanting to go salt and sweet, salt and sweet, salt and sweet, and having that you're chasing carbohydrates. Even as a little kid, I mean, we all as a kid, we want candy, we want ice cream, but I mean, like they're craving it. Like you can tell that they're constantly maybe sneaking things or whatever, and they have these cravings going on, right? It's the same with adults, but now put that into a child's behavior. Fatigue and energy crashes. So if from breakfast to, snack to lunch to whatever, and everything is carbs and their energy is just crashing all the time, you might be getting like messages from school, or you might be noticing it yourself if you are a homeschool mom. Good morning, Patty. Good morning, Claudette. Good morning. Good morning. So good to see you guys. You might be noticing that there are like energy crashes. And so for me as a mom, when I was in my 30s, so if you're in your 30s and you're a mom and you're coming across my content, this is very much for you because we're talking about the little kids today. And basically, I remember like the sun coming in through the living room, and especially as the seasons change, here we are going into spring. We just had, spring forward. So now the sun changes in the house, right? We will notice the shadows differently, etc. But I remember as the sun would kind of change its directions around my house, it would shine into my living room a certain way during a certain season. And I just would lay on the carpet floor and just like fall asleep. I was just like, oh, so tired. And I was just like fatigued and my energy was just shot. But do you know what I was doing as a mom? I was drinking coffee with sugared creamer all the time. So I was constantly doing this. Just a spike and a crash and a spike and a crash. And then when you're insulin resistant, which I was, didn't really know about that. But then you are definitely, you've got when you are insulin resistant, as opposed to being sensitive, meaning that your cell has become resistant to insulin shuttling glucose into your cell. That's what's happening. And when it can't get in there because your cell has shut the door, it stores it as fat. So this is why we get fat. But also too, then you've blocked the energy. So now you're exhausted. This is why it's a sign. So it's not just the crash from what you ate, even though, yes, that's true, but it is a constant, you're not getting that energy into your cell. Oh, tired. Can't get the energy into your cell. Oh, you're tired. And so if you have a child that really wants to like, you think they should be past napping age. You think that they should be like, whatever. They should have it together better. Come on, you're a kid. Like, what's wrong with you? You're supposed to have boundless energy. You're supposed to be bouncing off the walls, blah, blah. But they're crashing. Then it could be a sign of insulin resistance. Okay. Does that make sense? And then increased belly fat, just like us, you guys, just like us. You could have like a little belly going on with a kid. And, we want to be so body positive that we think that it's mean to like, now don't get me wrong. I'm not recommending anybody do what I went through as a little kid because I was bribed to diet probably at the age of 11. So I'm not saying that you do it in a certain way, but as a parent or as a grandparent, either way, you can be mindful and you can make sure that you're making them different meals. Okay. Case in point. So in the group, when we do recipes. So every time we do a 5-day challenge, which is this week right now, don't miss out, 3:00 Central Standard Time in the group, Ditch Insulin Resistance for Women. On Friday, we'll do a recipe. So every month, this is our 22nd one, we do a recipe and then we kind of add that to our repertoire, right? Well, one of them is keto lasagna. And that is using Maria Emmerich's suggestion of you get sliced deli chicken breast and go to the deli. It's the best way to do it, in my opinion. Go to the deli, ask the deli to slice you chicken breast on a number 2 on the slicer. Okay. And then it has some girth to it, just a little bit of like substance. And you're using that instead of lasagna noodles. I am guaranteeing you will be amazed. Your mind will be like, boom. My daughter, she feeds this to her family all the time. She has 3 littles. They are 4, 2, and 1, almost 1, 4, 2, and 11 months. And then her husband, and they all eat it. They love it because you are not eating lasagna for the noodle. You are not thinking, oh, I can't wait to like move that sauce out of the way and like ditch the Italian sausage. And I just want the noodle. Just give me the noodle. You're not thinking that. You are thinking about the conglomeration of lasagna, meaning the ricotta cheese and the mozzarella and the sauce and the sausage and et cetera, whatever you put in yours. So together it's making like this Italian sandwich, right? Well, that one little hack can change the way that as a parent, you don't even have to, You just have to recognize the signs. It's your job to recognize the signs in your children or your grandchildren, and then just accommodate your kitchen, right? And teach them. Oh, we're going to make a protein lasagna. Let me show you. They don't even know, right? They don't know what they don't know. I was taught how to use Crisco mighty handily. Like I knew how to wield a car, like a what would you call that? Like a, it's not a jar, it's not a container, it's a whatever. What would you call that with Crisco? It's a tub. I don't know. But I was taught how to use a tub of Crisco really well to make cookies because my mom taught me. Why wouldn't she teach me that, right? She also taught me how to clean chicken. Did anybody have a mom that taught you how to clean chicken, like how to trim the fat, maybe, wash it and make sure it's all clean, and anybody else, right? She also taught me how to make Minnesota fluff salad. Do I have to explain that to everybody? People always look at me strange. Okay, so basically you take a tub of cottage cheese and you add like Jello, like flavored Jello powder, and you dump it into the cottage cheese. And then you take a can of drained pineapple and you add that in. Sometimes you're even going to add little mini marshmallows, because then at the end you're going to mix in Cool Whip. There's a lady on TikTok. Do you guys know who she is? And she's a Minnesota mom, Midwestern mom, and she does Minnesota salads that aren't really salads. And she teaches all of these terrible, horrible, awful recipes, which make us diabetic. But anyway, the point being that I was raised on that. So whatever my mom taught me is whatever I know. So as a grandma, as a Mimi, a Gigi, I'm a Nona. Some people are Nanas, right? We have a responsibility maybe to help our younger generation. We don't have to be mean. We don't have to be embarrassing. We just make different food. So I'm going to make my kids different food, my littles, and I teach them about protein. Like you need got to get big and strong, eat your protein, right? And moms, if you're a mom, if you're like I was when I was 37, sleeping on the living room floor in the sun, and you have kids now that are maybe that adolescent age, and you're seeing some of these signs and symptoms, you can shift, and you don't even have to make a big to-do about it. You can just begin to change out your ingredients. And this is very much what I teach everybody as adults when we're talking about food. Listen, the reason why it took me so freaking long, I give hope to everybody, because I didn't start changing out my food ingredients until I was in my 50s. I was literally just shy of my 51st birthday. And I now just turned 60. So I didn't do it for so long because I thought it was going to be so hard. Because when you are raised to be a foodie, you think that that's going to be the hardest thing you ever did. But when you start to change out ingredients just a little bit at a time, you realize, oh, this is actually quite doable. So if I have a Lazy Susan full of pantry ideas, and we're going to go over this on Wednesday in the group, we'll do pantry. A tray of pantry ingredients, right? The normal tray, the normal Lazy Susan of white flour, white sugar, canola oil or soybean or vegetable oil or Crisco, right? If that's one pantry, I can have a different pantry that gives me a completely different set of ingredients. I'm making the same thing. I'm just using a different Lazy Susan. Do the same thing for your kids or for your grandkids. Just teach them, because you can start to bring it back. And it is a little invasive in our society, so it can make it more challenging, especially if they are in school systems. Or for the elderly, like my mom, it felt impossible. We literally had to extract her from the assisted living system so that we could have control over her diet, because it was so horrendous that we just couldn't do it anymore. And we took her out because of COVID, but I'm just saying, we immediately put her on keto as much as we could. It wasn't perfect because we were kind of sharing duties and stuff, but it was close. And I'll tell you, we thrive as humans when we eat real food and we get the protein that we're supposed to get. So let me see if I'm missing anything. Does anybody have any questions, by the way, on any of this? I am here to answer those questions. And don't forget that today at 3:00, we do have the challenge. And also do not forget that There is a registered customer promo going on. I forgot to mention that at the beginning. I'm so sorry. It started in March. So when you are, and I'll talk to you about the supplements here in just a second, when you are purchasing 150 or more subtotal for 3 months in a row, on that third month, you're getting $75 off. And this is an ongoing promo. So you can go cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching every 3 months. Just telling you. Okay. Anyway, I forgot to mention that. So the last one that they have, and then I'll read them all in one, would be the dark velvety patches of the skin, usually around the neck, the armpits, the elbows, and the knees. And I feel like that's obviously these are all for adults too. But if you start to mentally shift these towards kids, all of a sudden you're like, oh, it never dawned on me maybe that an adolescent girl who has a belly going on, that, instead of being body positive, you don't have to put her down for it. Like I said, you don't have to pay, you don't have to impose on them your thoughts all the time, but you can begin to bring education into your surroundings. You can do all sorts of things, but we oftentimes overlook things because kids, their bodies are changing so much as they grow. So maybe they're lanky in one, and maybe they get a little chubby, and then maybe they lean out, and maybe they're doing all these things. But if we start putting these together, maybe we'll see a puzzle going on, because insulin resistance and fatty liver, crazy pants. Do you understand? It's called non-alcoholic fatty liver disease because it used to only be found in alcoholics. Do you understand? And now non-alcoholic, should hope so, fatty liver disease is in our children. Why? Insulin resistance. So we have to reverse this whole thought process, and we have to change the way that we are eating and that we are teaching how to eat. We have to change. Okay, so here's the list for you. How do you know if you have insulin resistance that is potential in your children or in your grandchildren? Number 1, elevated blood sugar or triglycerides. Unfortunately, we're probably not testing blood sugars in kids, okay? But that would be one way to know. Number 2, early puberty, because insulin is a hormone. So just like it's turning your other hormones upside down in perimenopause in your 40s, been there, done that. I'm 60 now, been there, done that. Turns up all of your hormones. Same with your young children. Number 3, difficulty focusing. Maybe they have brain fog or they have trouble concentrating and you're wondering why. And maybe they're even getting improper diagnoses. Number 4, irritability and mood swings. Well, we might think it's normal, but I'm just saying, like, if you're starting to put together pieces, right? You can just pay attention to that. Number 5 is craving for sugars and carbs. And maybe you're seeing a child hide sugar or, just keep going back and back and back. It might not just be like, sugar is so addicting, blah, blah, blah. It might be something more than that. Because remember, even when I teach you guys about insulin resistance, because your body is not getting energy into the cell, your body is smart. It was built like a Porsche. It knows that it needs energy. So it's signaling you to get fast energy. What is fast energy? Carbs, sugar. Come on, carbs. Come on, come on, come on. Give it to me now. I need energy now because I want to function, because that's my job. Well, it's the same thing with your kids. Like, everybody's body is the same in that way. Like, it's meant to want energy. So sometimes we might be disciplining a kid for having cravings or whatever, when the truth is that their body is telling them we need energy. Okay. So then that goes right into fatigue and energy crashes because they're lacking energy. They might be spiking and crashing harder than somebody who is not insulin resistant. And they are out of energy because the energy is not getting into the cell. So the cell is like blocked. And so as the insulin goes and gets the glucose from the food you're eating and it's trying to get into the cell, it can't, because the door is closed and the lock has been changed. So it can't get in there. So you want the cell to become sensitive again. Insulin resistant to insulin sensitive. That has been my journey, but I waited until my 50s. So Get yourself some hope. Be encouraged, hang around. But then because I became sensitive, and I'll show you exactly how I did that. Because I became sensitive, I was able to get the energy into my cell. I didn't have excess all over here getting stored as fat because insulin is a fat storing hormone. And I was able to resizes in my 50s after my cycle stopped. Okay, so that is the process. And then the last two were increased belly fat and then any dark patches like on the neck, the armpits, the elbows, and the knees. Okay, those are the signs for kids. Let me see if I've got any questions. Otherwise, I'm going to just show you my protocol. Good morning, Matt. How are you? Oh, Carol has unexpected company. You'll have to watch the replay. See you later, Carol. That's so fun. Unexpected company is a good thing. What a blessing. Okay. Good morning, Matt. It's so good to see you around here. So Matt lives on like a 200-acre farm in Tennessee, and he has been on dialysis for a long time. So he pops in and says, hey, it's good to see you. Okay, so when I am teaching like a path, a system, it's very simple. It's actually very easy. The hardest part about anything that you do when you change your habits is your mindset and maybe your heart connection, because we have heart connections to food, don't we? Like we'll probably remember, like as a little child on Christmas Eve, maybe we already always had fondue, or we always had something or whatever. And so that memory gets really sealed into us that food was enjoyment, or that a certain time of the year or whatever, or we used food to relax. We used food because we were bored, or et cetera, right? Like we've got all these connections to food. So changing these two things out, even though I do teach this in the group, the truth is that everything else is super simple. Do you want to know how simple it is? I'll show you how simple this is. All right. Want to make sure I don't have anything. Okay. So what I teach is I teach 3 supplements, 3, just 3. I have extra layers that people use to accelerate even further. But if you want to just launch your body towards insulin sensitivity, and that's the only place you want to start, this is the place you start. 3 supplements. This one you take 3 times a day. This one you take twice a day. And this one you take twice a day. And I like to show them because they're tiny. They really are small. Hold on, I dropped that. Like this one is, I don't know if you can see how small this one is. They are not horse pills at all. They're just tiny. Okay. And a lot of people want to see that. So 3 times a day, twice a day, twice a day. This is where I started a little over 10 years ago. This is where all of the testimonies are coming from. I should not say all of them, but the majority of them for years and years now. So at the top of my Instagram page, I even started a second testimonial button because the first one, I just thought, this is ridiculous. Nobody's going to go through all these testimonies. That's how many there are. So I'm like, I better start a second button, because like, you just sit there for 15 minutes reading all these testimonies. I have to find a better way, but anyway, I digress. In fact, I can just show you where it is. So at the top of my Instagram page, I have all these testimonies. What's really cool is that my son, he had to fix his phone. He has an Apple phone. So he had to fix his phone. And so what he did was he had you call it a burner phone, where you go to like Best Buy or a Walmart and you get a phone that, you're just going to use temporarily. And so he did that. And then he got his phone fixed and got it back. So guess who he gave his burner phone to? His mama. He's so nice. So what I'm excited about is this. So when you look on my Instagram page, anybody that goes, if you jump over there, and in fact, just to let you know, TikTok, you guys, if you jump over there, you'll be able to I can send you links over there. But at the very top of my IG page, I'll show you guys first. See that bright pink button right there? That's the first one of testimonies that would take you a very long time to go through. The second one is right here, and it says trio testimonies, and that only has a few on there now because I just decided I got to stop doing that. But you can go there, or if you go to my site, which is my first and last name.com, at the top of any of my profiles, you'll see my site. You'll see it says kirstenliebelt.com. Can you see that? If you click on that, and it's on everywhere, it's Facebook, Instagram, but if you click on that, the first thing that you'll see is that you can contact me. The second thing that you'll see is that you'll see the trio with a handful of testimonies on it right there. The second one, you can get on my magnesium VIP list. It's launching March 19th, but come down here just a little bit. Just keep coming down and you'll see Facebook group. And then you'll see protein guide free. And then you'll see read trio testimonials, that big one. And it's a Google sheet, you guys, filled with testimonies. Okay. Just, there's a lot, but this is how you can literally launch your body towards insulin sensitivity. And it's a very basic conversation. I do not teach hacks. Okay. I consider having the conversation of net carbs. Somebody's just trying to hack the system. And when you are really trying to make progress and you're frustrated that you're not making progress, it's probably because you're following somebody that's teaching hacks. I hate to say that, but I will tell you the truth. I tried to cut so many freaking corners and never got anywhere. You can't cut corners because your body has to go through a healing mode in order for it to produce results that you want. And if you're getting results from, let's just pretend a GLP-1, which is a hormone made inside of your gut, FYI. So my next conversation will be the gut here. Just hold on. But if you're having an injection, you have to find out whether or not that's going to be long-term for you, because what a GLP-1 is doing, a semaglutide, is it's knocking on the door of your pancreas and it's telling your pancreas to release more insulin. So do you really want it to produce more insulin, or are you actually wanting to deal with the cell that is blocked? Like, hello, become sensitive again so that I have a lifelong answer, because you can wear out your pancreas. It wasn't meant to just produce, go. I mean, you can get great results, right? But you have to ask yourself if you're looking for long-term thought processes. There are a lot of people, I actually thought, and I've done a reel on this, I thought that when people were on a semaglutide that they were happy and that they liked it and that they wanted to, I wasn't processing. But then I started hearing from y'all who were saying, oh no, these side effects are horrific. Or I'm nauseous. Or, yeah, my pharmacy ran out. I gained back my 10 pounds immediately. Or, and then fill in the blank. And I'm like, oh, well, okay, this isn't maybe the, whatever. So I had to research it a little bit. Anyway, so the point being that if you can get your cell to become more sensitive, that's your goal. Then what I teach in the group is the food ingredient trade outs, because if you can learn to fish, you guys, you have a formula literally forever that is so much more simple and streamlined than you thought it was going to be. You do not have to spend $800, $1,200 a month on an injection. Your body was designed to create GLP-1 hormone. Your body was designed to have balanced insulin hormone, not to have high cortisol hormone. This is a hormonal conversation. So let's treat it as such. Get your body to actually get up and running again. This is like saying that and I always have a car analogy because it makes the most sense to me. You have this beautiful car. In fact, it was kind of funny because we were at the home and garden show and they were talking about wrapping your vehicle for like $1,700. And so my husband made a comment about how, you could pay $1,700 and wrap your vehicle and make it look brand new again. Ha ha ha, whatever, because, if you have rust on your wheel wells and stuff like that, whatever. That to me is like all of the hacks. That's what that's like to me. Now, I didn't know any of this when I started, right? But the truth is that you would never bring your car into the dealership and say, number one, I haven't changed my oil in 100,000 miles. They would laugh at you. And number two, you would never say, I know that there's an issue inside of the engine, but if you could just paint it blue, I feel like that's going to fix it. They'd go, excuse me? What are you talking about? So all of these hacks, We're going to add fiber. We're going to only do net carbs. We're going to try to cut corners and cut corners and cut corners instead of dealing with the inside, lift up the hood of your car, engine, cellular conversation, cellular and organ. Okay. So let's get your insulin to come down. Let's get your sugars to come down. Let's get your cell to become more receptive to insulin again, so that it stops storing fat every time you turn around. And then your liver is actually what helps to govern the glucose in your blood. It helps to govern your hormones, insulin and cortisol and GLP-1 are hormones. And you want to have your body up and functioning so that it can actually do its job. Let's get back to getting our bodies functioning. And then the last little tiny one that you're taking twice a day, this is helping with your metabolism. It's an extract. So that's where I started. And that really well effectively, as I was trading out my ingredients and learning to do stuff, I lost 3 sizes in my 50s. Holy Hannah, I never thought that was going to happen. And in fact, I do have my before and after up on TikTok, but I don't have that. I don't have that anywhere else, you guys, but that would probably be helpful. So if I showed you like my Instagram here. Nope, I'm going to show you my TikTok. So suffice it to say, losing 3 sizes in my 50s, it changed everything for me, right? Because that's what you're looking to do. You're like, I feel like I'm getting older and I'm not going to be able to like lose weight ever, because doesn't age equal bad metabolism? Well, age actually probably, in our case, when we're talking, when we're chatting around the table like we are right now, age probably equals insulin resistance. So if you're 40, or if you have a daughter that's in her like upper 30s like I was, this is information to share out to her. Because if she's struggling with her weight and she's in her 30s, early 40s, and she's hitting perimenopause, the greatest gift you could give a woman in perimenopause is to teach her about insulin resistance, and how when she has high insulin in her body that she probably doesn't know she has because nobody's ever given her a fasting insulin test, that's why she can't lose a pound. And it's not because she's a loser, and it's not because she doesn't have willpower, and it's not just because she's getting old, and so therefore she's never going to be able to do anything about it, and blah, 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 right? All of these different things that we think to ourselves as to why we can't lose weight once we hit our 40s. Well, that's just the way it's going to be, and whatever. And that's not the way it has to be at all. I wonder how I can actually like look at myself when I'm live on TikTok. And I don't know how to do that. I do not know how to do that. That's so interesting. But anyway, my point being that that's where I started. And then because your gut is actually making your GLP-1, you can actually change the way that your gut is working. And we all know about probiotics, right? Everybody knows that we should be taking a good probiotic. Is it possible to reverse diabetes and maintain it without medicine in your 30s? You got it from your grandparents. Yes. I'm not a doctor. Yes. I'm not a doctor. Yes. Yeah, it is. And I'm going to tell you why. I have a customer who, well, this is one of a million reasons. This is a metabolic dysfunction. It's a metabolic syndrome. This has to do with our food. This has to do with how we eat. Do you have genetic predispositions? Okay, sure. But what's more common is just learning from your family how you've been eating, like my Italian family. But I have a customer who she started on the Trio in July 2024. In January, she texted me and said, OMG, my doctor just said, whatever you're doing is amazing. I'm going to put not diabetic in your chart. Now, did she still eat McDonald's every day? And no, of course not. She's mindful of her eating, because you have to be. So when I teach food ingredients, I teach grain, sugar, and legume free. But I'm still a foodie. I still love all the food I eat, because I just traded out my lazy Susan, right? That's what I did. So anyway, so to answer your question, yes, you can turn this back. That's why I'm so committed. Like I don't even know, like, how can I tell more people? How can more people hear this? Like, share the information. You have to tell somebody. Tell your daughter-in-law. Pay attention to your grandchildren. Are they showing signs? Tell your friend, grab a friend and get into the group today. Ditch Insulin Resistance for Women. Be a part of the challenge. Take on every single challenge. Do 1 month at a time. We do it every month. I have people that it's on their 11th month. They're on their whatever month. They do month after month after month, because this is a little bit of a journey, right? You're healing your body. If you're looking for a quick fix, then I'm not for you. I'm not looking for people that can get, like, you're not going to be insulin sensitive in 2 weeks. You're working your body towards actual results that you get to hold onto and you get to own them. So the second piece of the puzzle, the trio is one piece. The second piece of your puzzle when it comes to supplementation is for your gut, because your gut is actually where your GLP-1 is created. Your gut is where the insulin resistance was making it leaky, and you're leaching out your nutrients, which is causing more issues in your body. Like if you have sometimes thyroid issues can be an iodine deficiency, right? Things like that. Like, we need to shift and there's so simple answers sometimes. So simple. So let's get your gut shored up so that you can help your liver. Because your liver does what? Governs the glucose in your blood, governs the hormones in your body, insulin and cortisol, not cortisone. That's a steroid. Cortisol and GLP-1 are hormones. Are you starting to track? Are you starting to see how this all does this? In perfect synchronicity, it's all connected. Everything is connected. And all of this is connected to fatty liver, PCOS, gout, type 2 diabetes, heart disease, high blood pressure, high triglycerides, all of this. When it's not in synchronicity and being tended to, it's all connected. But they teach you that it's all individual, and you just need a script for each individual thing. And they're just like cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. Okay, so your gut. I know a lot of people take greens products. Fantastic. I have an organic greens product that I love. My husband actually takes that. It's a certified USDA organic greens, and it's sweetened with stevia, and he adds it to, this is the one that I talk about all the time. This is a primer. It's not a greens product. So he's adding a greens product to this primer, but it looks like a greens product. So this is like 6 products in one. 6 in one. A prebiotic, a postbiotic, the fiber that you're needing, digestive enzymes, alkaline spices, and fermented greens. So it's helping literally, I don't even know how to say that. Okay. I told this to him the other day because I hadn't really shared this with him. The testimonies that I have from you guys of doing this take a probiotic. This is 5 strains. They are alive. These 2 together are my gut reset protocol that I talk about all the time. This is like truly getting into the inside of your engine and helping your engine. So a lot of the testimonies that I get are for people who, oh man, I could just go on and on about the different things, especially when it comes to constipation or indigestion. Somebody who hadn't slept in years, now she's sleeping, having energy for the first time because they were so fatigued. And it's just because you are moving impacted waste through your body, and you are now bringing up the level of liver function. And because your liver is actually functioning, like, this is for your liver health. This is for your oral health. And I'm going to tell you about that in a second. And it's also for your metabolism, your ability to lose weight, not just weight like you lost water, weight detox. No, again, that's a hack. I'm not going to talk to you about a hack. Okay. Don't get me wrong. We all love to lose 5 pounds, blah, blah, blah. We all like that because we're moving impacted waste. But the point is that if you are able to get your body to function, you will lose fat that is like long-term sustainable. Like that's what you're actually trying to accomplish. But anyway, you can also then shore up this, this is my visual, shore up the walls of your gut, so to speak, so that you can stop spilling nutrients. You have to stop spilling nutrients from the supplements that you're taking and from the food that you're eating so that your body can actually function again. It actually gets the iodine or the copper or the trace minerals that you need. Because if you're taking a bunch of supplements, right? Okay, you get my idea. Now for me, this is crazy. So when I was in my 20s, the only answer that I ever got from dentists was you need a root canal and a crown. Like it was obnoxious. It was like they were on the root canal cash train. And so I had much going on in my body, in my mouth. Well, so then I turned into my 50s and all of that's old now, right? So it's all failing. So I've had a lot of work in my teeth. Well, I had like right in between a couple of these two front teeth, I had this super sensitive spot. And this has been probably for the last 2 years. And I'm like, so I would floss and I'd be like, I don't like that sensitive spot, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But it's not really, anyway, doesn't matter. When I started the gut primer, I, of course, was kind of like, why would they say oral health? Like, why oral health in the description of what it helps? That's odd. Well, I'm thinking it's from the alkaline spices. It's because your body needs to be in an alkaline state. And your gut actually starts in your mouth and it goes through the exit. That's your entire gut. So here we are thinking in my brain, your gut is your stomach, right? No, it's like your entire system. So actually there are a lot of like, if you're killing bacteria in your mouth with mouthwash, you don't want to do that. That's the beginning of your microbiome. So I have recalibrated with alkaline spices as a part of what's happening to me. I have not had sensitivity in this area 4 months, 5 months now. And I'm like, okay, like, I don't know why it was saying that, but that's kind of crazy. So anyway, so my point being that's the gut section. And then what is the top with the primer? This is a probiotic, Patty. So this is, if you were to type in balance on the website, Patty, you would see this. This actually it's a powder. I already took mine for the day. But it's a little powder. I put it right on my tongue like this. I do not zhuzh it up with the primer. I don't use my frother. Okay. It's not in here for a reason because these are live and they're active and you don't want to mess up a probiotic. If you have a probiotic that is in something that you're zhuzhing with a frother, probably not the best idea, right? Because they are fragile. A prebiotic and a postbiotic, stable. Pre and post, stable. Pro, not as stable, alive. You want them to be alive. So this actually has a stick to the gut technology and a stay alive technology. So it gets into your stomach. I'm going to sneeze again. Gets into your tummy and it actually does what it's supposed to do. Because you know what? Listen, nobody needs to be flushing any money down the toilet. Like, don't be doing that. And I'm not even joking. I don't say that lightly. Do not be just taking massive amounts of supplementation that doesn't make sense for you. If you have a supplement cupboard that looks like your makeup drawer, I can help you streamline that. Like you do not need to be just taking everything under the sun because your neighbor, your friend, a Facebook ad, an Amazon find, Costco sample. Like sometimes we just grab straws and we end up spending so much money. Don't do that. Target what you're trying to accomplish. And then you can layer. Okay. There's nothing wrong with layering, but you're definitely wanting to make sure that like it makes sense for you. Okay. But that's the beauty of having somebody you can ask questions to. You're welcome, Patty. Hi, Lorette. Good to see you. So that's the gut protocol. Now, for somebody who wants, this is the last layer, and this is the one that when I talk about the whole system and I say that somebody was doing the whole system, like Claudette, who's on here, God bless Claudette. So basically the whole system is when I talk about the trio, which are those 3 supplements with the gut primer and the, I just dropped one, sorry. The gut primer, don't pay any attention to me. It's Monday. It's Monday, people. So the trio, the gut primer with the probiotic, and then this is the orange pixie stick. And the orange pixie stick, this is the whole system. So I'll tell you about the whole system being, so Claudette, since August 28th, has lost 45 pounds. Well, you might be like, okay, well, that is amazing. And you would be right. That is amazing. Now she's doing it all, right? That is amazing because she's viewing it through the lens of insulin resistance. Okay. This is why this happens. So she's like, I'm doing it all. But you want to know what's even more amazing is that Claudette just turned 75. So you are not too late to the game. This is why I say, tell your daughter-in-law, tell somebody you know that's younger, that let's target the younger moms so that their kids can have a better shot because they knew. Had I known what I, at 37, when I literally had that thought process of, well, I guess maybe I'm just supposed to like embrace obesity like the Italian family. Like maybe this is just who I am. I'm obese and I'm just going to have type 2 because it's genetic, blah, blah, blah. My dad was diabetic, blah, blah, blah. I mean, I actually had these thoughts that came into my mind at about 37. And I know that sounds weird, but I literally can tell you where I was standing in my yard and the outfit that I was wearing when I had that thought. Now, I'm a Christian. I personally feel like that thought came from the enemy and that I was supposed to just embrace a really like marginalized life and go on and be sick and embrace sickness. But I was like, no, I'm not going to do that. And I kind of like, it was a fleeting moment. And I decided I was going to figure it out. And I still, Claudette, yes, honey, she says, I love you, Claudette. And I went on and it took me from 37 until right around 50 before I actually did anything about it. So don't think that like Monday morning I figured it out, but I did eventually. I was like, I better do something. I better do something. So that's when I started to supplement, and then I moved on and like figured out my ingredients, etc. So this is actually a very simple, streamlined thought process. Anybody can start with the trio. Anybody can start just there. You know, and I always tell people, just get into my message box and say trio, and I will get you a cart with the trio. If you want a cart with everything in it, I'll get you a cart with everything in it. Like you can have exactly what Claudette did, you know, and I can never make guarantees on, you know, how anybody else's body is going to respond. Right. However, I'm going to tell you that like the testimonies that I've received in the last year alone are worth gold to my audience, just worth gold. Because if you have a doctor that writes not diabetic in your chart, did you not just win? Are you not just a winner? If you're 75 years old and you just lost 45 pounds, did you not just win at the game of life? Like, no hacks, people. Come on. Let's stop cutting corners. Let's stop looking for the next hack. Because we just can't take the full answer. The full answer is not, it's really not as bad as you think it is. You've just been told that it is so that they can tell you that you need a $1,200 a month answer. But what if you learned how to trade out one ingredient at a time, one recipe at a time? What if you learned how to have a supplement routine? I wasn't a supplementer. I was an ibuprofener. Take as needed. Keep a bottle in your purse, girlfriend. Like that was my idea, right? Bye, Matt. Good to see you. You go back and make pretty shiny things, Matt. You have a fantastic day. It's good to see you. I'm so glad you're around and doing well. Cheryl says, go Claudette. Go Claudette. Woo! I know what I love. You guys are so encouraging of each other. Um, but that's kind of where I'm at, where I'm able to come and talk about this every day with you guys. Try to get somebody, if just one person every day wakes up to the reality that they can turn back their own insulin resistance, they can avoid or even get off of medication. Of course, you're working with your doctor, not me on the medication. But everybody already knows that, but I always want to make sure I say it. But what if you can actually move forward in those directions? I am fighting for you 5 years from now. I've got your 5 year from now self. Does that make sense? If I can teach you how to do this, would you take a look at what I'm talking about? If I could teach you how to have a simple routine and just give yourself permission to trade out one ingredient, one recipe. I think Terry's like on her 11th challenge now, because you don't have to get it all overnight. You don't have to do that. You just keep adding to your repertoire until over time, you literally have a completely different pantry. You literally have a completely different way of looking at things when you go to a restaurant or go on vacation, and your body is responding and is dropping fat. It's a really good journey. So, all right, 3 o'clock today, Central Standard Time in the group, Ditch Insulin Resistance for Women. We'll start our 22nd 5-day challenge. Be there or be square. And if you need any supplementation at all in order to get your body to accelerate going from insulin resistant to insulin sensitivity, drop Trio either in the comments on Facebook, in my messages on Instagram or TikTok, and I will get you a cart for that. Or you can just message me directly no matter what, and I will answer you. So, all right, I'm going to go get ready for the afternoon. Be amazingly blessed, and I will see you tomorrow right here at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. See you later, you guys. Have such a blessed day. Love you guys.